It is morning at the time of filming anyway. When you see this, it'll be whatever time it is. But it is Friday morning. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. It's a little chilly right now, but a sweater is perfect. Oops. A sweater is perfect. I wish I could say I made this sweater, but I don't. I don't knit. At least definitely not well enough to make a sweater. But it is pretty. And Nancy from She's Got Yarn gave it to me. She didn't like it or it didn't fit her. I don't know, but I like it. And it's the perfect temperature for this right now. This afternoon, I'll probably put on a t-shirt. So let's see. Welcome to my channel. My channel is mostly about crochet and yarny things. A lot about Boggy Creek Camp or Camp at Boggy Creek because it's near and dear to my heart. That is a camp for chronically ill children that's in Florida, and the Boggy Brigade, which is all of the donation people, donate blankets, and we handmade knitted crochet blankets, and we take them to camp once a year. We started our collection drive this year in August, as usual, and we will be ending it the end of January, beginning of February. One of those 2 weeks will be the weekend for delivery this year, which is like 6 to 8 weeks earlier than last year. So we did not set a goal for this year, but last year we raised over 3,000 blankets, but we didn't deliver until March. But as of, let me get the paper so I give you the right figures. As of last Wednesday, 2 days ago, we have collected so far 784 blankets. There was a double dog dare challenge by someone, we won't name names, to make a smiley face blanket, just a big old circle, and put a smile on it, like a smiley, like an emoji smiley. Because I thought, how fun would that be to have a cabin full of blankets with smiley faces on them? And so far we have collected 32 smiley face blankets. There are, I think, 10 cabins in 10 beds per cabin, and there are 16 cabins. The cabins are color coordinated, red, green, yellow, and blue, and there's 4 of each of those. So they can hold that many kids. So with 32, we've got like 3 cabins covered. Then 2 of our lovely subscribers have been creating Grafgan designs, which are beautiful. And we're keeping track and keeping separate the Grafgans that come in. It's Tatiana's Blankets, I think, and Tangled in Yarn with a Net, I believe, are the channels. I think I got the names correct. And those women have just been so kind. Annette also put out, I know, some videos on how to make Grafgans. So I think she's linked in my description box. If not, I'll try to remember to put her in there. So check those out because just gorgeous. And if you want the Grafgans for free, you can just go to Creations by Jax. I think has them on her website. Or email the Boggy Blanket Brigade at gmail.com. And it is boggyblanketbrigade@gmail.com. And Jaxie will send you a PDF with every one of the Grafgans that have been designed so far. And they're just amazing. And so far we have 24 of them. I've been working on one Grafgan for about 65 years now, while Annette made 10 in 2 weeks. Probably a little more than 2 weeks, I would hope. But man, she's just whipping about. And then we are also keeping track of how many blankets have been made for Nana June in memory of her, who is She was a fantastic subscriber, donator, contributor. That's the word I'm looking for, to the Boggy Creek Camp. And we have so far 20 blankets donated in her memory. The design is by Juan the Yarn Addict, and it is a free tutorial on his channel, and I'm sure that he's made it for left and right-handed crocheters. I had to say that, just a little plug. So, and I know y'all know Juan, so I want to just throw that out there about the Boggy Camp, because I do crochet a lot for that, and I talk about it quite a bit because it is near and dear to my heart. And my channel is also about traveling. It hasn't been a lot of travel recently because we've been stationary here for the summer in Hartville, Ohio. But we're leaving Hartville on the 15th. And we're heading out for probably 10 to 12 months before we'll be back. We have a really nice trip planned. The first stop is outside of Washington, D.C. because we want to see some of the monuments that we have not seen that have been built since we were there last. And I wanted to see them at night, lit up. And so it's just a couple days layover on our way to a national park in Outer Banks. So cross your fingers that when we leave on the 15th and get to those two destinations, the government is working and we can use those destinations. You know, that the monuments will be lit up, and I don't know what happens when the government shuts down. I'm sure it's a temporary thing, but nevertheless, I hope the national park will be open, or else I don't know where we're staying. I'm sure we'll find someplace if we have to, but I'll be so disappointed if we can't stay at the Outer Banks. I've been wanting to go to the Outer Banks for a long time. We go to Myrtle Beach quite frequently, and we've never done, and we've done Hilton Head, but we've never done the Outer Banks, and I really want to see that. So we will have footage of, I like to do yarn shops along the way when there's some available that aren't too far away. So then there's generally some yarn purchases. And then there will be sightseeing videos. What are we seeing along the way? We like to see, and you think I would get a lot of crochet done when we're traveling, but I really don't, because if we're on the highway, I can crochet. But if we're not on the highway, if we're traveling like the back roads, then I'm watching. Oh, look at that house. Look at this cute little town. Look at, and so I don't do as much crochet, or it's got to be really, really mindless to keep my eyes off of, I want to see where we're at. Highway driving is boring, and I don't care. So all that being said, what do I have to show you today? I did complete one Boggy Creek blanket. I am so excited that the luck of the draw, which you guys, I didn't even look. I cheated. I'm going to confess, I did indeed cheat. I was doing luck of the draw 12 with Jaxie from Creations by Jax, and Trisha, Mama Swift. How you ladies doing? And I was doing really, really well. Normally you have a base color and then 5 other colors, and it's a 10-week crochet along. Make whatever you want, but this is done Boggy style, as Jaxie's words and Trisha's. It's done Boggy style because it's a small blanket. Boggy Creek blankets, if it's a square, it's 40-inch square. If it's a rectangle, if it's a square, circle, star, anything that's not a rectangle would be like a 40-inch. If it's a rectangle, you go 35 to 40 wide, 40 to 50 long. The pattern I chose to do this time is a rectangle, and I chose 5 colors because I did not want to do the normal base color. Normally and you don't have to, so the way the luck of the draw works is you have a base color and you put that row in, and then you pick your 5 other colors and you number them 1 through 5. And every week, Trish draws a number out of a red solo cup, and that coordinates with the color that you will do this week. So, in my blanket, the first week, whatever number was red. And so I did red the first week, and then the next week, whatever number she drew was the cream color, and that's what you put on your blanket. These are the colors that I used, because these are the cabin colors, red, yellow, green, and blue. And then I needed a 5th color, so I added in some cream. Let me open this bag up. Now, these yarns, I purchased these big skeins of 1 pound yarn. This big twist. And I purchased these when Joann's was going out of business. We delivered the Boggy Creek blankets, and then we went to Joann's on the way home, on the way back. There was a Joann's, and we're like, let's go in there. And I, at the time, am living in the 28-foot camper. Don't have a lot of room for extra yarn, but I wanted to be able to make blankets in the 4 cabin colors. I got that idea from one, and so these are the 4 cabin colors. I made a granny square blanket out of these colors. I'm looking to see which one was the number for this one. Is it this one? Okay, this is the one that would have been this week's color. And so I have, it looks like I have the most of the yellow, but I started with an already open skein of yellow. So all of it's big twist except for the Karen 1 pound. But I made it because I wanted to be able to make blankets that coordinate with the cabin. So I did a granny square, a blanket, and it's all vacuum sealed in a bag and put away. And I think I want to say I did a second one, but maybe I did not. Maybe this is the second one. And this is how much yarn I still have left. So last week, the week before last, this is week number 9. So at week, when we got to here, I can just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so at week 7, I had 2 red and 2 cream, and then 1 green, yellow, and blue. And I'm like, oh, it'll look really weird if I have like 3 yellow and only 1 green. So I kind of decided that I was going to color control. But when week 8 came, my blue came up, and I'm like, yay, 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 yay. This week, so now I've decided, okay, I have 2 colors left. I have the yellow and the green, and that's it. So I just decided I want this blanket done. I need it to be done in order to put it away and get it moved over to the other camper, because we've sold this camper that I'm currently sitting in, and they're coming to pick it up in a few days, and I need everything out of here, including my yarn, and to get it mostly organized, I want this blanket done, and I can put these yarns away, decide what else I'm going to do with them, and be done with that. Wipe that out of my brain and move on. So coincidentally, this week, the number was picked. So I decided, this gave me, now I have two of the blue, and it was the number that came up. Had nothing to do. I thought, I'm going to let them pick the number, and if it's one of the 3 colors that I need, I will put it on. And it was. So then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to finish it. I'm just going to randomly grab one of the other 2 colors. And so I finished it with these 2 colors. No matter what, I didn't want to have 3 of one color and 1 of another color. As the blanket was being made, I decided that's what I was doing. So funny, I just pulled these colors out, and this is the color that was picked for this week, for week number 9. This is I don't want to show you the number, because I want you to go watch Trisha's video, or in Jaxie's video, but Jaxie As Trish is pulling the number last week, Jaxie yells out the number. She yells a number. It's going to be, and it was. And that happened to be the number for this. This week, same thing happened. Trisha's pulling the number out, and Jaxie yells out a number, and it was this number that coordinates with this yarn that I had already put on my blanket. I just realized that right now. That's so funny. So next week's number, I'm going to tell you, is probably going to be number 1. It was for me because this was my number 1 color. I don't have really any idea what next week's number is going to be, but I'm shouting out number 1 because that's the number for my green. Here's the green. And you can, there it is. I just write right on the label. Jax and Trish, they have their little boards. I write right on the label. That's the number. And if the label falls off, it tells you the color so you know where it goes to put it back. So this is my Boggy Blanket. Let me push the table back a little bit. Move you back. I know you won't see the whole thing. Let me see if I can rearrange my own body here. Maybe get you the whole thing. And then I'm going to put that yarn, I think, in a vacuum seal bag at least for a couple of days. Instead of, I had this big plastic bag. It's really a nice, huge, big plastic bag. But that one doesn't vacuum seal. And it takes up so much less space if you vacuum seal it. And when you're going into, don't mind, that's my closet for my coats. Actually, it's the back of the bathroom door. But that's where we hang our coats. Okay, let's see how much of this we can get in here for you. So this is what it's looking like. And the green at the bottom. I did get all the ends woven in and everything. I got the border put on during the live Wednesday night. The Boggy unboxing. And I just did the moss stitch. You can see it the best here because it's against the cream. So I ended with the green. So I had it in my hand. And I should, but it didn't matter because at some point the color is going to go against itself, you know. So I did just single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and then go in this skipped space for the next row. 1 row of each color. And so that's what the border is. This stitch pattern is a stitch pattern that I saw on TikTok. And I'm like, oh, I like that pattern. But it is, I guess my Creative Grandma has a stitch tutorial of stitch pattern of the week. You know how she does that? It goes this direction though. Let me show it to you in the green. Maybe. Let's see. So it goes like this, and it's, no, that's upside down. That's the right way. So it's a V stitch, and then inside the V you do a granny, and then in the middle of the granny you do the V, and you just, so it's a 2-row repeat, V's and grannies. I did a 3, multiples of 3 plus 2, because I have a solid double crochet on each end. It starts and finishes with a double crochet. Really easy, quick to work up. I did use a 7mm hook with this yarn, which is, just your big twist acrylic 4-weight, but it gave it such a nice drape and big hook blade, gives you a faster make. And it was a pretty mindless kind of thing. I like it. I love the stitch. I like the blanket. Really not, the primary colors. It's not my favorite color combinations, but it's the cabin colors, and so for what it is, it's perfect. And I'm really happy with it. So what am I going to do next with these yarns? They're still my Boggy Creek Blanket yarns for the cabins, and I am deciding. I kind of am thinking another granny blanket. It's not enough to make a smiley face blanket on any of them. But I was thinking, you know, that granny square blanket with the big, like, daisy thing in the middle, very retro 1970s look to it, but it's a bigger square. I'm thinking I might do those flowers in these colors. You know, all the cabin colors make the center flowers. I have to see. If you have to hold two yarns together, definitely not doing that pattern. But I'm thinking big flowery center, and then use cream for the rest. I know this isn't enough cream to do that with, but I got all of those. I have 3 or 4 from the Dollar Tree, those big $5 ones, and I love that yarn. So I would finish this skein and then get into those, and I think, well, I'm going to see how the colors, if they match, but I would prefer to use this skein up first, but I think it would be fine. And then, you know, just use the cream as the outside of the square and the join. Or maybe, depending on how much of the colors are left, red, yellow, green, orange, maybe do join with that. But I'm thinking join with the cream, so the flowers will just be all on the cream border, and then border again with the different yarn colors like I did this border. I think that would be pretty. So I have never made that stitch pattern, that granny square pattern. Oh, just a second. But I really like that look, and I think that would be kind of cool, kind of fun, kind of cool, and not be all those colors right on top of each other. Because when the green and the, you know, the dark colors, they kind of, I like them better when they're separated. Let's put it that way. So that's where I'm at with that. Then I worked on just a little bit. I'm making, instead of a smiley face, I got this green yarn from the Dollar Tree for $5. And it's the Yarnspirations Red Heart Classic 1 value, and it really is soft. It's a 1 pound, 16 ounces, but it's 867 yards or 792 meters. When I made this smiley face, I made it out of the big twist yellow. This very same yellow is this one, but there's 1,000 yards in these, 1,092, I think. These have, I can tell you for sure. Sure I can. 1,093 yards in these big twist value, 1 pound plus it says, 17.6 ounces. So this is 16 ounces. When I made the big circle smiley face, I did not completely use one of those to make it the 40 inch. I think I stopped at 38 inches, and then I did a couple of inches of border, black, just because, you know, the circle smiley face has that black rim around the outside. So I worked up this blanket in one skein of the green, and I thought, as it was getting close, I'm like, I'm going to push through. I was tired, and I'm like, I'm going to push through. I'm going to finish this skein. This blanket will be almost done. I can put the hair on, which is going to be black, and I can be done with this blanket. And I'm like so excited. I can do the fun stuff. I can crochet some scars and, you know, the bolts and some eyeballs, and I'm going to make him smiling because I don't want him to be scary in case like a 6-year-old gets it or something. Because the kids at camp, I think they start at 6 and they go through 17 years of age. And did I mention that Camp Boggy Creek is free for these kids to go? Their families pay nothing. And during the summer, it's a week of just the kids. During the school year, they have family weekends, and it's the families, including the siblings and the parents. And again, all free. So very cool. So anyway, I pushed through, and I got to here on this row, but it's my little stitch markers right there. I got that far, And I have this much yarn left. But when I got to this row right here, I measured it. And I'm like, I got to be really, really close. And I know I knew I would be playing yarn chicken with what was left when I got to here. So I measured it to see, do I need to put this row on and play yarn chicken? Because I really don't want to go into another skein of yarn for one row. I can probably just make, see where it is before I have to add. I'm figuring a couple rows of black for the hair. Yeah. So my blanket looks this big. 31 inches. Needs to be 40. I'm like, what? I was so disappointed. As I've said before. Yeah, really disappointing. I haven't added, as you can see, I haven't added that other skein to it yet. I probably will need 1/3 of that skein. That's okay. I mean, that's what I bought just in case. I knew that this had less yarn in it than what I made the smiley face blanket out of, so I thought I probably would have to get into a second skein. But I thought, oh, if it's close, I'm just gonna, not add the second skein. No, I'm adding the second skein. I'm adding a lot of the second skein. The good news is this is just double crochets back and forth, so really brainless. Very good for crocheting in the car, crocheting. I used to crochet around the fire pit when we would have a fire sometimes, before it got too dark. But I didn't want to do that with the Boggy blankets because I didn't want them to smell like campfire, even though they're at a camp and they probably have a campfire. The camp is big enough that where they have the fire, they're not going to smell like campfire. So I didn't want their blankets smelling like campfire. So I don't crochet around, they don't crochet this around the campfire. I haven't crocheted around the campfire at all this year, actually. So anyway, now I'm going to add the more green, but I was complaining that I was tired of this green. It's not my favorite color by a long slot. Green is, some greens are beautiful. I love like a mint green. I love spring green. Do not like this color green. But I did add the bolts, and they're not, it's a blanket. It's got to lay flat. I don't know what else to say about that. Yeah. So I did a slip stitch border to try to make them be a little more sturdy. But they still, so here's the neck, is like not as wide as the block of the head, and then the bolts. And obviously I have not woven in any ends. And so he does have bolts on both sides. You can't see them together, I don't think. Let me squish them together. Let's see if you can see. He does have bolts on both sides. And when you're carrying them around, the bolts are going to hang funny. That's just how it is. The kids will probably carry it by the bolts, and then it'll get all stretched out and look silly, but that's all right. They can do whatever they want with it. So that's where we're at. I think I want to make just big black eyes. I haven't decided. The smile is just going to be a smile just like I put on the smiley face. But I don't know if I want to put just big black eyes or if I want them to be different looking. Like with a white to the eye kind of thing. I'm not sure. I haven't decided that yet. I'm really excited to want to put scars on this. I want to put a scar up here, and I want to put a scar on his cheek. I really want to do that. I think I'll just like surface crochet those. Because I think that'll add a lot of fun to it. I was thinking I might do like the unibrow thing. And just do like another row of double crochet over the eyes once the eyes go in to make it like 3D like that. I'm real excited to make his face, I guess. But I gotta get through the rest of the head so I know how big to make the face. How big of his eyes are, So that's where we're at with him. I need to decide what I'm going to do next with the Boggy Creek yarn. And it is the 1st. It is after the 1st of October. If you don't know Laura from Mimi's Crochet and Farming, check her out. She is, I think it's for everyone, not just the Zoom sisters. I haven't been in Zoom as much since we've been here as I like to be. Actually, since we've been camping, living in the campers, because if I'm in Zoom where it feels like he has to hide somewhere, and so that's really not fair to him. So I haven't been Zooming as much, but she is starting a challenge, and I think it's for everyone, that you make something during the month of October. Look for a pattern that has your name in the pattern title. Well, I went to Etsy, and no, I went to Ravelry. There's very few things that have my name in it, but there are some. And it's not the designer. It has to be the pattern name. If you can't find anything that you like with your name in it, then you have to design something yourself. Well, I found a stitch pattern I want to make. I talked about wanting to make a cowl for my daughter, and give it to her for Christmas. And I want it to be, I'm making it out of cotton yarn. 4-weight cotton that I found at, where did I get it from? One of the yarn stores I went to in Michigan. And it's red. It's like fire engine red, and she loves red. So I'm like, ooh, I want to make that for her. I want it red and make her something for Christmas. And so I decided I want to make a cowl. And I found a stitch pattern by Fiber Spider. And he says, you can make anything you want out of this. So if I use that stitch pattern and I turn it into a cowl, then it's my design, right? And so I can call it the Lynette cowl. And I can give it to Amanda for Christmas. And I can, so that's a twofer. That's a double dip, I think. It's a present and it goes with Laura's Crochet Along. I think I'm following all the directions correctly from this. So there's that. I'm hoping that's the case. And I like the stitch pattern, and it's something Cabbage Patch. I watched it the other morning, and I'm like, I think I can do that, and I think it would look cool. And so you can make it as wide as you want. Now I have to do some research on, I want it to be one of those cowls that, like an infinity cowl, I think, where it like twists on itself. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you put that together and make it, it's like, you don't want to, I think is that an infinity? Is that what that is, when it like folds over itself all by itself? I have no idea how you construct that, so I have to do a little research now that I found the stitch pattern that I think I want to use. Now it's the research part of it to figure out how to design what I want it to be. Or I could just make it a scarf, which would be really, really easy because you don't have to worry about it, folding in around itself. But she does like a big bulky cowl, and I don't know, it's a softer cotton. It's not like kitchen cotton. I've had softer cotton, but it's, I think she'll like it, and it'll be durable and light enough that she can wear it spring, winter, and summer. I mean, spring, fall, winter, and spring, like early spring and all fall, if she wanted to. That's my idea. Maybe a cowl isn't the right thing out of that yarn. I don't know, but we're going to try it out and see what happens. But I have to do a little research before I get into that, because I don't know how to construct that. Or maybe I'll just make it a really thick and she can twist it herself and do whatever she wants to do. I haven't decided. I have to see how hard it is to do the twisty thing and not be confusing. So that's all I have for you today. Cross your fingers if you know of a twisty, and I think it's infinity cowl pattern. Let me know. If you know of a good kind of squares or design that I can use to use up the rest of this cabin yarn, let me know that too. Give me some ideas. But I kind of like the idea of those big flowers. And that's it. That's what I have for you today. It's Friday. We have stuff going on during the week or during the weekend. So I don't know if I'll get any videos done or not. So if I don't, see you again during the weekend. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you afterwards. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing, all those things, you know. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.